Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Mediterranean area with me, a host Imperial Dane, Master of Propaganda, Hero of Reich, Defender of the Fatherland, in this case, Defender of Constantinople, and so on. Things are obviously not improving a lot here. The situation is looking still rather grim. I suppose you could argue it's less moderately grim than it was just last episode, but still could be better. We still haven't done much about war weariness, which is really bringing in issues, so we gotta sort that one out quickly before it turns dangerously sour. There's a bit of an issue there, to say the least. To say the least. So let's end the turn and see what actually happens.
At your command.
Alright.
Commander.
Alright. And turn and see what variants do. They're really the main issue. The Franks, of course, problem, but they're not quite pressing as close to as they could. Attack here. Got no chance of surviving that. Cheers. Alright. Mid chances, let's defend it to the last man. Obviously the artillery is going to be a problem, but we do have some ranged units, bit of cavalry and some decent infantry, so there should be a small but still a chance. See where they will be attacking from. Right here, and things are not looking good.
But much has been destroyed.
Morale-wise, it's not looking good either. Compounded with the other issues, this is going to be rough. To say the least, this is going to be rough. Guess we'll try and form up a series of defensive lines.
Defensive positions. Hold. Archers. Spearmen at the ready. Spears.
See what happens. Foot walls are not in good condition.
General! Melee troops! We await your command.
Alright. They brought a lot of siege equipment, which they end up not using anyways.
God give us strength! Loosen the ranks! Spear infantry at your command. Spearmen, ready for orders. Spears! Bowmen!
Already falling apart.
Spears!
Morale penalties are, in fact, pretty severe.
The enemy has been spotted!
In fact, we're suffering huge ones thanks to the war weariness, which isn't doing a lot there to actually, stop it from getting worse. It's basically one of those systems where things just, escalate very quickly when things suddenly begin going bad. But of course, we've been doing well, great. And then since we do see that the system obviously has got a few big fat flaws, let's just put it like that.
Blast! A fire has started among the houses. Into tight formation now. Double time. Our men flee the field.
It doesn't exactly take a lot there to break our spearmen, so our chance of defending is actually much slimmer than it actually gave the appearance of, because again of the severe morale penalties we're suffering.
Those ranks! Raise shields!
And again, then the system will say, oh well, you know, make peace. But the problem is, if they don't want to make peace, you're shit out of luck. And again, the AI is not a rational actor, which again is basically one of the bigger flaws that the CS seems always to make. They kind of make it, and you know, it's not a rational actor, not in any sort of, you know, sensible way.
Our men run from the enemy. This is
It just
shameful.
does a bunch of stuff, perhaps according to what, you know, being dictated by some script, but overall,
Ready and waiting.
it's not rational in a way that, so, you know, dictates, you know, survival or anything else.
Warriors of Christ!
Which rather limits, well, what you can do with it,
Wall! For the Savior! Ready and waiting.
which is usually what
We
you
are
call a bit of a
losing
problem.
Swords!
It does highlight, you know, one of the reasons perhaps not to play on legendary difficulty.
Our gates have fallen to the
But
enemy.
yeah, this is pretty much done battle, and again, I think this is going to be the final episode, because there's just no way of bouncing back from the now severe war ruinous penalty that's being inflicted to me. There's just no way, and again, diplomatically, there's no way either. If the AI again was a rational actor, sure. Again, then they wouldn't, you know, just breaking off all those puppets despite, you know, being in, you know, lame rulers and so on there. But they did, because that's how the system is made.
An entire unit has perished.
Again, that limits what can be done. And when I get around doing the Warhammer Total War thing, I probably was just going for the almost highest difficulty, because again, I'll also probably risk the exact same thing. Because again, ultimately, the AI is not, you know, very intelligent. It's not very competent.
Quickly now!
There you go, got the general.
Their general is dead. A lethal blow. A unit's ammunition is spent, and he can no longer fire.
I mean, they're suffering some morale penalties as well, but that's again mostly due to the old, well, you know, general died.
Light cavalry!
That's about it. Some casualties have been sustained, but nothing really serious with them.
Spears! Light cavalry! To the barricades!
I mean, it could play the equivalent of Legacy or whatever they got going, but I'd not be very confident. I wouldn't get magically screwed over by the system. They're going to have to play it, you know, as to roughly extent as min-maxing and abusive as you could, because again, ultimately, you can't really counter diplomacy, and you really, if you want to get, I just don't like having a game where essentially one part of the element is just completely wonkers, because
General!
they just can't seem to figure out how to do diplomacy. I mean, they try, and it's nice, but when, you know, push comes to shove, it goes apeshit.
Advance at speed! Riders, advance! Javelin men, advance at speed!
And that does undermine, again, it also undermines the whole diplomatic aspect, because, you know, there's a lot of the elements, again, which you don't have much point. Again,
Men are
puppet
broken
states
and are
are,
fleeing.
again, useless. They're more of a hindrance to you than a benefit, because ultimately, you're not getting a lot of resources out. Ultimately, militarily, they're not going to aid you, and again, they are much more likely to just turn against you, which really limits why you want to use them in the first place. You don't want something which, you know, can easily just turn around and stab you in the back. That just kills it, and that's basically been the big problem. So, well, again, while I do enjoy the Total War series, it's clearly still got some big issues, some flaws, which it still doesn't really seem to have sort of gotten around to, you know,
The enemy
fixing.
has almost totally destroyed our settlement.
It seems like the solution, at least in terms of sieges, for example, is just, you know, trying to remove as many factors and just dumbing it down as much as humanly possible. But just again having one out. And again, in a sense, it makes sense, you know, it makes sense, but at the same time, one worries if they're not just trying to limit the scope of what they need to do.
Archers! Spears! The men are losing hope.
I mean, I'm getting some killing done, but obviously not quite as much as one could hope for.
The men are broken and running
And
for their
ultimately, I
lives.
can't do much again with all the archers standing about there.
Spears ready.
And my cavalry having a minimal impact on them. And for that matter, morale having a minimal impact on them, but of course massive on me.
God give us strength.
So yeah. No. I managed to bleed them out, but ultimately not. So in this sense, it's again due to the whole fact I wanted to, and again they just decided, you know, only stay until I lose my leader, and so on. I mean, had that not happened, diplomatic I'd probably be a bit better off, but still a lot of the issues, for example, with puppet states, would still very easily apply. You really need to come up with a better system, and the same with politics. Oh god. Now they're drawing in, of course, I get to draw in the others. Can't really be asked. And again, at this point, my enthusiasm has rather been killed thoroughly by just the fact at this point, again, the getting massive cheats, which again works when other parts work well, allowing for the editor, you know, or the player to pull off a lot of neat tricks. But again, for some diplomacy is wonk, and other elements are, you know, not really useful either. It just sort of becomes a slog. In particular, when all the AI does is just spam the same few units over and over again as well. I mean, that's really another issue there. A lot of the time, you just keep spamming the same few units while hoovering up any mercenaries that exist. That rather also undercuts the whole thing. And rather leaves one not frightfully enthusiastic about the whole bit. Because again, I do enjoy it, and again, you know, when it went well, reasonably, with the whole diplomacy, sure, it was fun, it was grand. Problem is, you know, once it stops working, well, looks like we got some armies actually directly going against me, and that's just lovely. Again, another issue here. Again, we got full war weariness. I mean, there's nothing I can do about it anymore. I mean, I've done well. I've extended quite a bit, and technically I got one victory, so, you know, that's fair enough, but I'm rather being, you know, left out to dry there by the game, ultimately, because, again, I actually tried to rely on some elements of it, which I really shouldn't have, of course, but I wanted to, because, again, I don't like game elements having elements that clearly don't work. It bugs me a lot. I mean, if you're going to do something, do it properly, or don't do it in the first place. So yeah, I think we shall call it quits here. A bit of a short episode, bit of a finish, but again, just want to get out my thoughts here again on some of the elements which obviously aren't quite working as well, and, you know, the sad fact again has relied so much on cheating that to a certain extent it sort of undercuts the fun as well. But still, had some fun, had some enjoyment, retook a lot of Rome, but ultimately just sort of, what the hell is that? Falls apart. So there's ultimately nothing further that can be done there. So thank you all for joining in. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope you had some fun.
Ready for orders.
Enjoyed this series. If you did, you know, share it, like it, sign off in the comments. And of course, do feel free to, of course, talk about things. Still some time to go before Warhammer Total War, so I'm not entirely sure what other I might cover. I'll probably go over to Battlefield Gothic Armada and cover that campaign there a bit. I might not. Might find something else. Or I might, I don't know, cover another campaign. I suppose I could do the Western Roman Empire. Not on Legendary though, just almost next hardest there, and then sort of take it from there and rebuild Rome. If that's cool, you know, sign off in the comments, at least until we sort of get there to Warhammer Total War. So I think that'll be it. Thank you for joining in. Sorry for this short episode, but it's pretty much impossible to continue from here. So thank you all, and cheers.